It's time to say goodbye to new Battlefield games. You must be wondering, what? Surge? They're releasing the new Battlefield in November. This may be one of the last Battlefield entries in the century. I'm telling you, if this game does well, you may not see a new Battlefield for up to 6 years, even longer. Let's kind of discuss this a bit deeper. If we look at an industry leader for games that last a long time, have good support and still make lots of money, we can look at Grand Theft Auto 5. They are a $1 billion company and the game makes ridiculous amounts of money. Grand Theft Auto in 2020, Grand Theft Auto 5 made revenue of $1 billion. The game came out in 2013. If you're a greedy executive and you might have to pay for a budget of a game of $100 million, but there's another game out there that just made $1 billion in a year that came out in 2013, you can't lie, it's kind of tempting to try and follow suit. So Grand Theft Auto does a really good job of keeping people in by releasing frequent content drops with new heists, new areas. The very world-renowned update that everyone probably knew about was the good old casino update. I'm sure you'll love that. They're not hiding it anymore. It's an actual casino in the game. I'm sure that's made them lots of money. But now, EA, how can they make the similar amount of money as Grand Theft Auto is making? I mean, who wouldn't want to make that sort of money? They're going to retry their live service. Let's just read from what the CEO Andrew Wilson has to say. So he was asked whether an every other year schedule would return for Battlefield, and he said it would. However, EA is also looking at Battlefield as more complex live service with free to enter options and more. Now you might be thinking, he just said it would. I don't believe he's actually talking about proper Battlefield games. This was in the earnings call. I could be wrong, and I will accept that if I am wrong. But let's just think about this. Free to enter options. Heard of Hazard Zone? Our leaked apparent free game mode? We know nothing about, thanks. Apparently now it's coming out a month later. Great job everyone. Now we only have 2 game modes. I'm seeing more and more that there will be game modes like that might come And I really think he's specifically talking about Battle Royale here. Saying, like, you know, every other year we might add a brand new game mode or something that you can play. Do we think Battlefield will return to an every other year launch? I would say, I think that is our orientation. Not really answering the question. Because if Battlefield 2042 continues to do crazy numbers into 2022 with all the stuff still being sold, I can tell you this, they will probably not be making a new game. Might have a small team thinking about the new game, but they will be all hearts on it. I think you should think about Battlefield as a service. What we announced, what we're doing for the launch of this game is really revolutionizing and reinventing what all our epic scale warfare is in the context of gameplay. I don't like that sentence of, I think you should think of Battlefield as a service. That's a hint. If this game does well, they're gonna make it last a long time. Battlefield 5 was not meant to end as early as it did. It only ended early because the numbers were pathetic in their eyes and they weren't making money. And they wanted to go to the next project. But if Battlefield 5 did well, I could tell you we probably wouldn't see a new Battlefield game for a while, because the real money is in live service games when you don't need to add that much content. It's so much easier to add a couple new maps than it is to build a new game from the ground up. You could say this is why FIFA is very easy to do, because they just copy and paste all the code. Basically just put a game and add some DLC to it. So it would be like if they were releasing a DLC pack. The real area they want to work around, though, make it not too controversial, is the customization. and the store. That's where they make their money. It's not like Grand Theft Auto that will make its money from the shark cards and being able to buy money in game. Customization is their big thing. In addition to that, you've heard us announce Battlefield Portal, which really starts to lean into user-generated content and will drive deep, long-term engagement in the game. Long-term. I'm really just pinpointing how it's being said. And while we've announced Hazard Zone, we haven't disclosed a lot about what's going on there, and you'll hear more about that in the coming months. 2 months off launch thing really forms the foundation for what we believe the future of a live service around Battlefield is, which over time will include a mobile launch, will include some free to enter components, and really change the nature of what happens from launch to launch. And every other year launch probably makes sense as we think about it today. We're really focused on 365-day engagement in the franchise at a platform level across any device that consumers may want to play in. They are saying new games will be released. Once they get that gem, Battlefield 2042 can be their gem, they will go all hands on deck on that. And I promise you, by the way they've treated Apex Legends with like 7 developers, you might have DICE doing a completely different thing and have a small group making new content. And Apex Legends is one of their most successful games, and it has like the shittiest like, number of employees. It's probably just a poor number, and they have shit servers and all that. So if they can make money out of Battlefield 2042, why do they have to bother with a new game? If they're making lovely amounts of money, it's just passive income. They're not doing anything. And a map here and there. And look, the game is gone for 5 years, which is a record for an EA game if you think about it, because most of their games die within a year or 2 years. Unless you're talking about the OG Battlefield. They're going to be taking inspiration from the free-to-play Warzone and possibly the premium and COD releases. So we could see new games and have Warzone and mobile. So Battlefield's version of Warzone. And then the mobile. We want us some of that, what he said. When are Battle Royale games gonna die? I swear. I don't understand why they are still popular. They were fun in 2016. If you like Battle Royale, all power to you. I don't know, my brain must just work differently, but I'm just surprised they still exist. Every single game company is always 24/7 thinking about, oh, how can we get a Battle Royale in? I promise you this, there will be some form of Battlefield Royale. Could be Hazard Zone, could be the new free-to-play that they launch. Who knows? But they're really trying to get some sort of, well, the most profitable way. So we could see a new Battlefield game come out the year after, and it's just a reskin. So we might see a Battlefield go down the way of Call of Duty and not really update things, not really change things, just change the time period and add like 10 maps. So could Battlefield be taking inspiration from Call of Duty? Quite possibly. It's concerning for the future of games, because it's not really about anymore how you can leave your mark on the industry. Unless you're owned by a company like PlayStation or Xbox, where their PR will get affected, you don't really see any people trying to make bookmarks. Or indies. Indies took a great job at that. But if you're Activision or if you're EA, who cares? Or Take-Two, 2K, who cares? Pump out an online casino, make the most money. No one cares anymore. And then the occasional good game, I haven't seen Blizzard make a good game in like 15 years or something, what it's looking at now. The occasional good game, but that's it. And then if you look at the game consoles, even Xbox is concerning. Like on Xbox, you can pay. In Halo 5, it had so many microtransactions, and that was an Xbox original game studio's game. That was their game. That was made by them, and they put cosmetics, and they're coming out with a free-to-play mode. I can guarantee there's going to be so many cosmetics in there. So they're already starting to branch out. I haven't seen PlayStation do that because they've decided to commit to single-player games, and I want to thank them for that. More and more, we're seeing so many new multiplayer titles and less single-player games, because single-player games aren't as profitable. But the problem is, they are more profitable, it's just you actually have to put effort into it. And these game companies do not want to put effort to it. So I just wanted to thank PlayStation for pulling out games like Ghost of Tsushima. But then you get like bad games like The Last of Us Part 2. But that's all part of the process of making games. Not every game's going to be great. But if you're trying to leave a footprint, it's kind of what matters. I haven't seen that really too often. I do really hope Battlefield 2042 does the right thing, isn't overly monetized, and is fun. I know it's going to be really fun. I just really hope that EA doesn't take the piss and try to squeeze us out of every dollar we have. They are the company that launched Battlefront 2, arguably the most horrendous monetized game that's ever been made. They still produce sport games like FIFA, where they have a whole game mode made out of loot boxes and microtransactions because you're trying to get the best player. They are not an ethical company. They do not care. They just pretend to care about the players and stuff like that. I will miss more entries of Battlefield, original ones, not Call of Duty reskin. I think they're trying to go with modern for their end game, and we'll just see what happens from that. If it's stinky, we'll see a new game. If it's really successful, you won't see a new game for a while, or at least you won't see a proper game. You'll see, like I said before, a Call of Duty game where Modern Warfare is basically the same as Vanguard, and Vanguard is basically the same as Cold War, except different skins. They even use the same weapons half the time, so interesting to see. What do you think will happen? Do you think that Battlefield 2042 will be one of the last Battlefields? Do you think that's EA's plan? Or do you believe that they're just going to stick to normal and keep doing things like it was before? Even if they do release every other year, I don't think that's a great model to go by, because that's just forcing crunch. It shouldn't be about the time the game comes out. It should be about how good it is. If you have to pump a game out, you see shit like Battlefield 5, where they release 4 games in like 4 years. And they even released like extra indie titles. They had Battlefront, Battlefield 1, Battlefront 2, and then Battlefield 5. That's 1 year per game. And we wonder why Battlefield 5 got the really shitty stick. Because I can tell you, they probably shift everyone to Battlefront 2, and then they're like, oh wait, Battlefield 5 is next year. Shit. Let's start working on it. I really love DICE. I really love Battlefield. That's why I just express my concern for the future, because I want new Battlefield games. I don't want to just play the same game. I don't want monetization to just continue. It's not the actual top tier staff members that are to blame for this, in my opinion. When a company goes public, you can, as a shareholder, you guys can kind of vote to kick out staff, the senior staff. So if you're the CEO, you can be taken away from your office if you're not succeeding. I really think that shareholders are the main problem. If you have a private company, you're less likely to have these issues. But if you have a public company, you now have to deal with these angry people that have invested money into your company just so you can make more. Like games like Dying Light 2, they were delayed a long time. Just give it time to work, you know? And that's a private company. This was a long video, guys. I am just flabbergasted. I really hope the right thing happens. I don't want to see another Grand Theft Auto scenario come down where we have to wait like 10 years for the new game. And I'm still excited for Battlefield 2042. Who knows what's happening now? It might not even be ready when it launches. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.